Hey guys, it's Becky with Design Bundles, and guess what we have for you today? I am so ridiculously excited, if you can't tell, because today I'm going to unbox and show you my first Glowforge cut. Hey guys, so here we are. Now I've had to make room in the vinyl shop to put this bad boy on the floor. I received a tip before it arrived that you don't want to let it sit upright, okay? You don't want to let it sit on its side. That when it arrives, until you're ready to unbox it, you want to lay it down. And that has something to do with the CO2 tube that's on the inside, okay? But this just arrived today, and I'm super excited to jump on in. So I got some tools. I got a box cutter, I got a pair of scissors, put my hair back to keep it out of the way, and we're gonna get started. Okay, so I've removed the edge protectors. You do have these little handles here, which I guess is really useful whenever you're bringing it in. I was lucky, my UPS guy brought it straight in here for me. But I'm going to cut this tape right here because it looks like this box is in two pieces. Just be very careful when you're moving it, obviously. So these handles come out, they have this little pop out section, all right? Now remember, just like with anything else, you are going to want to keep all the pieces for your packaging. If you have to make a warranty claim or send your Glowforge off for any type of repairs, then this is the box that you need. And from what I understand, if you do not keep the box and you need to send it off, it costs you $250 for them to send you a new packaging unit. That way it will get to Glowforge safely. Okay, we're in. Let's see. All right, so my first layer is a complete layer of foam, so that's a good sign. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lay this down exactly as it comes. When I get the Glowforge out, I will put it back in the same way. Okay, so the Glowforge is wrapped in plastic, and I am actually, that's what this table is for. I'm going to move my Glowforge from the box and put it onto this table up here. Now this is a two-person job, all right? Don't try to do it yourself. So if you haven't received your Glowforge yet, or you haven't unpacked it yet, just know that it'll be best if you have somebody there with you. That way they can help you with all these things, okay? Okay, so I'm done rolling around on the floor. That was a fun excursion, right? So let's go ahead and I'm going to unwrap the Glowforge and take a look at everything that's inside of it. Okay, so what you are seeing is the front of the machine. What I have back here is the back of the machine. So let's go ahead and talk about what we have. Now this is the Glowforge Basic model, okay? So you have your basic tape to secure it, but that is your lid. And this is what's going to pick up, all right? Now, if you have a Pro model, then you also have a pass-through slot right here. But from what I understand, that is the only main difference physically between the models that you're going to notice. So let's go ahead and I'm going to turn this around because I want you to see the back. Okay, so on the back of the unit, this is going to be your exhaust fan, and there's going to be a hose. We have a separate box, and I believe that is going to have all the goodies that we need to keep going with our excursion today. And then over here on this side, you have your power switch, your on and off, and where you're going to plug in the power cord. So also, if you had the Pro, you would see another pass-through slot here. Now, like I said, this is the basic, so we don't have that, but I just wanted to point that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open this and remove the styrofoam that's on the inside. But you have this little ticket item here, right? And it tells you go to setup.glowforge.com and it will walk you through how to set up your machine. And guys, I have seen this already, okay? I'm fortunate that a friend of mine let me help her set hers up. So I can tell you 110% that walking through, it really does take you step by step. It shows you what needs to be removed. It tells you about plugging it in and hooking it up to Wi-Fi. So after I remove this styrofoam, we are actually going to switch over and go through the setup on the computer, okay? Okay, so what I wanted to show you, the reason I went and took the styrofoam out, is you do have two pieces here, okay? This is going to be your print head, and this is definitely something you need to keep. It has to do, I believe, with, I think it's installing your lens, okay? We're gonna explore that some more, but it even comes with a lens wipe. So make sure that you keep these in a safe place. Because I'm still doing the installation, I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna leave that there, but I'm going to leave my print head inside of the styrofoam for now, okay? Because I know there are some do's and don'ts about how to install this, and when I pull up the software, it's gonna walk me through doing each step, okay? Okay, so this is the other box that came with the Glowforge. They were both delivered. They're both from Glowforge. I'm going to assume they go together, right? So I'm going to cut this tape. And what I'm looking for in the immediate future is I need the power cord, okay? So before you can, not that you can't get to the setup on your internet, of course you can, but I want to go ahead and locate the power cord. That way I can get it plugged in so that I don't have to make any, we'll say, unnecessary stops along the way, okay? This is our exhaust. This is actually your Crumb tray. That's what you're seeing on top here. Here we go, winner. It's our power cable. And then of course we have a selection of sample materials, which conveniently is what we'll be cutting today. Okay, so here it is. I just typed in setup.glowforge.com. It brings me straight to the login page. Now, luckily, my login information is already saved. Thank you for my internet browser for that, because chances are, it would be a struggle. I don't always remember all my passwords. Now, they actually say that letting your internet browser remember those is bad, but, you just have to make your own decision. I live life on the edge. All right, so you do need to go through and read the Glowforge Terms of Purchase and Service. I have already read this, so I'm just going to scroll, but they do make sure that you have to go all the way to the bottom, then check it and choose I agree. You can also agree to the little cookies disclosure. That way you can move past that. So unboxing your Glowforge, let's get started. Now it's going to talk to you about all of the safety and awesome things that you need to know before you launch into owning a laser printer like this. Okay, it also tells you what to do if you have any damage. It gives you all of the official names. I will try to remember these throughout the video so that you'll know. But we're looking at things like the lid camera, the lid. There evidently is only one button, so we'll call it the button. And then the pass-through slot, which we already talked about, the Crumb tray you saw. So for the most part, I think we're on the right track. There's the exhaust connection, on and off, the accessory pack, which we did already open. All right, now we talked about the handle locks. You guys saw me take that off. What you couldn't see was that you need to unclip the middle part, which was a struggle on 2 out of 4, so you got a 50-50 shot. You're going to want to unlock those and then remove the handles. And you do need to save those because that's what's going to lock your box closed if you have to save it. All right, choose a location. Now you guys saw I put mine
on mine's actually a counter type table. That is not a permanent location for my Glowforge, but I am in the works to have a table put together for me. So we will talk more about that coming up and do a video on that. But you just need it to be somewhere where you can ventilate. Okay, because you saw that I took out the little ventilation tube, and that needs to be ventilated to the outside, or you need to have purchased a separate setup to be able to vent out the fumes and gases and things that are released when you're using a laser cutter. All right, talked about the on-off switch, prepare the surface, we're good. Unseal the Glowforge. So this is literally walking you through step by step by step. Everything that you saw me do and struggle with, they make it look really easy right here. So if you want to learn the proper way to do it, hey, make sure you follow their directions. There's some more talking about safety equipment. Super, super important stuff. This is a laser product, and it does deserve to have a lot of attention paid to the safety information. All right, so here's where it's going to talk about removing the printer head and important orange and red bits. All right, this is the part I was talking about. Now, I have already removed all of the styrofoam. I removed the printer head. I have not removed these red screws here, so we will have to do that. There's your printer head. Okay, you guys got to look at that. And yes, and your lens tool. Hey, I remembered that correctly. Every now and then I get it right. All right, remove the foam block. Now you're going to remove all of the orange tape. Remember, we removed the piece from the front, so we're going to remove the others. And then it says remove the red strips. So we will need to identify those and do that also. Now, if you have a Pro, then you are going to remove your Pro shields. I performed this. Like I said, I helped my friend do it. Really super easy. You need a screwdriver, but super, super easy. All right, your accessory pack, you guys saw that. All right, now we're going to talk about sliding in the crumb tray. So I'm going to pause in my narration of reading this page to you, and I'm actually going to go over to the Glowforge and go ahead and take care of some of these things that we've talked about and finish getting the Glowforge ready, because when it's time to move on to the next page, we'll be ready to set it up wirelessly.
Okay, so now that I know that my Glowforge power's on, I'm going to go ahead and proceed with setting this up. Okay, so I'm going to turn it back off. Okay, because obviously I don't want to have the lid open and be working on all these pieces when it's powered on. Okay, so I'm going to open the lid. I'm going to go ahead and remove this orange tape here. Now this is what's going to connect to your print head. All right, so we want to make sure we keep that secure. That's why it's taped in place. And then we want to remove, these are the orange wheels, okay? That's what we're looking at. These twist off with a hand. Unless you're a weakling like me. Okay, so if you're anything like me, you might have to get out your big ugly pliers. I call these my ugly pliers. I actually use these for more of a hammer when I need to get something back in line, but hey, it got me past my little hurdle so I could get off the struggle bus, and now I can unscrew this freely. Ta-da! There we go. So now it says that you can remove these orange strips. You need to move. This is your, what do they call that? The arm, the print arm. What is it? I'm not sure. But these are railings, and they have these that protect where your Glowforge lineup is for your different axis, right? And then you can move it back forward. Now, as long as the machine is off, you can move this. All right, so let's move on to the crumb tray, right? We pulled this out of our box earlier. And what you're gonna wanna do is slide this all the way back, just like we just talked about. And this, now did you guys see when I pulled this down? Now this is a snug fit, so don't be afraid to, I wouldn't, yank on it, but give it a little force, because it is snug right here, which is good, and it also has a magnetic part. Okay, so what I do is I just kind of take one hand, pull that one down, pull this one down, and then it comes loose pretty easy. So you're gonna pull that down, put your crumb tray in. Now you want to slide it in.
And there's actually little grooves on the bottom, and you will be able to feel when it's in the right position.
Okay, and this part with the lip is the front. We're good on the crumb tray. Okay, so the metal plate all the way back. Oh, I did not remove this part. Just kidding. So you will need to take this off. It says remove. Slide it all the way to the right. Okay, so I have pulled the print head from its packaging, right? You guys saw it in the foam packaging. Rule of thumb, it says not to touch anything that's not matte black. All right, so all of this stuff, don't touch it. But you do want to remove this orange piece of foam. All right, now you're going to take your print head wires here, right? Line it up with your print head. And see there's a little piece on the top of this and a receptor piece here. You slide these in and it will click. There we go. And then we are going to align this. Sorry, my ribbon's stuck here. There we go. Very magnetic. Okay, so you want to make sure that your ribbon is all underneath this metal plate. Okay, and then it literally will just, you can feel. I know that's not a very good description. You can feel when it's in there right. And it says you want to double check and make sure that your ribbon moves smoothly. There we go. And then the instructions actually said to bring this back to roughly the center of the machine. It says it should be centered with the camera. So that's pretty close. All right, so the next step is going to be connecting our exhaust. So we're gonna open this package up. Now, I would definitely at this point recommend checking out some of the Glowforge groups because a lot of people talk about using an inline fan that they get from Amazon. Now, I'm not saying that you're ready to make any additional purchases at this point, but I think the inline fan is like $70. Okay, so I cut that. And then you do have 2 rings, and one is going to go on each end of your exhaust vent. So you will connect one side to the Glowforge. Okay, so I'm gonna walk around there and take care of that. Okay, so this is the back of the machine. And what you can't see is that I already took, so this is your exhaust hose, right? And I already took one of these little ring clamps and it is around the end of my hose. Now originally I thought, hey Becky, put this on your Glowforge and then just squeeze it and slide the hose in. That did not work for me. As a matter of fact, if you can see over here, I had to get out my ugly pliers again. So I've already fed the hose through, and I'm going to squeeze my little fingers to death because that clamp is no joke. I really thought, oh, just squeeze a little bit, it'll be fine. No. So I'm gonna line this up and squeeze for all I'm worth and get this thing on the Glowforge. Okay, so call me special, but I really had no idea that putting the exhaust on was going to be the hardest part of this project. So pretty impressed with myself. That's pretty secure. So come to find out, the best tip that I can give you is to look at the end and make sure that all your foil parts are pushed out. Okay, so it's a pretty snug fit to begin with. You add in the clamp, you add in the ugly pliers, things just start going south, but you can do it, you can do it. And if all else fails, you can probably always call an appliance repair person because I'm sure they do these for vents all the time. So anyway, enough of that. I'm going to vent this outside. Now, like I said, I do not have a proper setup yet, so I will be venting this out of a doorway. So I'm going to prop that open and vent it outside, and then we'll get to cutting.
Okay, so exhaust vent taken care of. Now I've scrolled all the way down. It just basically tells you, hey, go ahead, connect your power cord. I've already done that. And then tells you to turn on the Glowforge. So when the Glowforge is on, it will give you a teal button, and then now it's going to be time to set up your Wi-Fi, which is super, well, I'm going to say it's super easy. It was super easy for me. If you are not on the techie side, then it's going to be pretty similar to just connecting and disconnecting from a new router. Okay, and we'll do that back and forth a couple times. This part may vary a little bit depending on what computer you're on, but I really think it's pretty easy. So, okay, so Glowforge is on and running. I'm going to hit continue. Now, you're going to go through, the Glowforge will be temporarily broadcasting a Wi-Fi access point. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my Wi-Fi, and I do it the long way. You probably have a shortcut down here on the bottom right hand side, but I'm going to hit show available networks, and there's my Glowforge right there. Okay, so I'm just going to hit connect. And basically this is going to connect my Wi-Fi to my computer because I need my computer to connect my Glowforge to my Wi-Fi system here at the business. Okay, so it says your computer is connected to your Glowforge. So super cool. So we want to refresh, and this is where I'm going to select my Wi-Fi. I'm going to input my Wi-Fi password. So while you're waiting, I'll go ahead and give you a little gem of information. We get to pick out a name for our Glowforge. So all that means is that you can use this time to think of a name for your machine. So it says your device should reconnect automatically to your favorite network, but you might have to do this manually. So let's go ahead and check. Click back over, show available networks, and it is already connected to my Wi-Fi. So that means that we should be good to go. So this is going to, oh, here's where we're going to name the Glowforge. So I don't know what I'm going to name it yet. I guess I'm going to leave it just as Glowforge for now. And I'll have to come up with a trendy name. And I knew this going into it. You think I would have come up with a name by now, but yeah, that's a lot of pressure. So this is also where you can add users. Now you can do this later. You don't have to do that now, but you can add users to your Glowforge account. And that was one part that actually disappointed me. I actually don't need to see any tutorials, so I'm going to head over to my dashboard. But it disappointed me because I wasn't able to get into the software until my machine arrived. And that's one thing that I appreciate about a lot of softwares is you can at least get like a trial version. And it wasn't because I had to pay for it or anything, but it just literally would not let me unless I was already added to somebody else's Glowforge account or something like that. And then just to let you know, you do get the first 14 days of Glowforge Premium trial for free. And after that, it is $50 a month. Now, that's a relatively new thing, and I know it comes with a whole lot of features, and that's super great. But $50 a month is a lot, guys. So I'm just not sure that I would recommend it at this point, but I have heard murmuring from the Glowforge groups that a lot of people think that the price will come down in the future. So, just see what you think about your 14 days. I personally would let it expire and see if I can make do without it. And then if it's just a complete make or break for me, then, I guess I would pay the monthly subscription. But I don't pay a lot of subscriptions, so it's not really high on my to-do list. So let's go ahead and talk about, we are going to cut our first design. So I'm going to come out here to designbundles.net, and actually I was looking through my Plus membership. So this is a membership that is totally worth it, and definitely not $50 a month. So check into that. If you're looking for a membership based on designs, then this is really cool. And I noticed that they were adding a lot of laser cut files. So that's something that I can really get behind. I think it's really cool. And so I can scroll through here and any of these are purchased with my Plus credits. So I just need to pick one out, and then I will be able to I'll download it and import it into the Glowforge software. A lot of these are 3D, which is really, really cool. That's not what I want to do for my first print. But these ornaments are pretty cool. So why don't I pick one of those? Ooh, I really love this one. I love this gnome one. All right, sold, add to account, confirm, download. Now this is going to come over as a zipped folder. So remember, I will have to unzip that. All right, so once this is open, I'll choose extract all, and again, I'm on a PC Windows 10, so that might be a little different for you. Go back to my downloads folder, and I should be able to find my GNOME file. All right, now this is one thing that I do like about the Glowforge software. I'm going to locate my SVG document. I'm going to come over here, choose create a blank design. Now this is the software, and I'm not going to go too in depth. We're just going to do our first cut today, but it's picking up this image from my camera. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my design, and then I'm going to put a piece of material in here that I can go ahead and do the cut and engrave on. But back to where I was going with the software is I can take my SVG and I can drag and drop it. So I think that's pretty cool personally. It'll take a minute for it to go through. It does tell me that my text has been removed. I'm not sure that I care about the text, so we will see. Yeah, I think it's fine. So there must be something about that. To print text, you can use design software to expand the text to outlines before saving. We will have to investigate that further. I'm not sure what that means. Now down here is your ruler, and I want to, you can unlock or lock your aspect ratio. All right, I'm going to keep it locked, and I just want to do this like 4 inches high. Like I don't want it super tall. All right, so I can leave that wherever I want, and let's go ahead and look over here at these settings. I'm going to click on one. Now, obviously, here, let me show you again. This guy is going to be a cut along the outside. He's going to be an engrave on the inside. All right, so let's go ahead. Actually, I want to show you the cool thing with proof grade materials. I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of proof grade material in there, and then you will watch it update. Now, once I close the lid, that should initiate a new scan. You can see it's got a scanning over here. If that doesn't happen, you can click more, and you can refresh bed image. Okay, now I want you to see what happened. You see this icon down here at the bottom, and then up here at the top where it says medium draft board, it picked up that QR code, which is super exciting for me. I just think that is the neatest thing ever. But this is kind of where you're going with cost versus convenience, because from what I understand, the proof grade materials cost more. So I'm going to position that in the corner because I want to be as conservative as I can. But you do, it's hard to tell on the lighter materials, but you do have these areas where you cannot, that's like your border. You can't cross that line. You can see it better over here on the right hand side. Okay, so we are going to switch this. I'm going to click on this material. Now this is going to be a cut, and this is going to be an engrave. And everything, that's the benefit of these proof grade materials, is that your settings pick up automatically, and those are proven settings depending on the type of material that you're using. All right, so it says it's ready, so I'm going to go ahead and click print. This is going to prepare, and it says, yay, congratulations, your first print. And it goes through some of the safety things, you know, don't leave it, yada, yada, yada. You can pull the plug in the back and then contact Glowforge. I'm going to click I understand. And I don't mean to gloss all that over, but hopefully you have already checked into that by now, all the safety concerns that come with using a laser. So it's going to prepare the print, and basically the Glowforge light will start blinking when it's ready.
All right, so we're ready. Let's watch the magic happen. So I feel like I've been waiting for this day forever. Like I really have been in love with the Glowforge ever since they first came out on Kickstarter. So I'm so crazy. I'm so crazy about this. Alright, so there we go. Alright, you gotta get a hold of it. I'm gonna slide this piece out first. And you can notice I got a really clean cut. And I did evidently, I'm gonna blame it on having my material edge to edge. You do get, there's that part where I'm telling you that you cannot cut on, but if I wanted to do like maybe some earrings or something, I could actually reposition this farther into once I start using this part too. So don't discount. I am a scrap hoarder. Okay, that's where I'm going with that. I'm a scrap hoarder and I'm gonna save all the scraps, at least for the time being. And this is my adorable little ornament. I love it. So you do, it doesn't seem to be coming off on my fingers, but you do see the charring on your masking, okay? And that's kind of what the masking is for. It protects the surface of your wood. Now this, like I said, is the medium draft board. Okay, but if you purchase materials that are not the proof grade material, then you can just mask it yourself, from what I understand. Guys, is that not one of the coolest thing ever? I am personally in love, and I just want to say we have already embarked on this journey. I did the pie test, I tested marshmallows, I engraved a recipe on a cutting board. Of course, this is the cut that we made today, right? I actually took this guy and I colored him on with some Sharpies, so he will go on the tree, let me tell you. And then, of course, we've already done ornaments. I mean, I just feel like you just go and go and go with this machine. It is definitely an addiction. So, now the question of the day, now that you guys have watched the first cut and you see how easy it is, given a choice, would you purchase a Glowforge, or maybe you already have, or is there something else that you want to add to your crafting? So I'm always interested to hear from you guys. I want to know your thoughts and opinions. So let me know what you want to get into, what you want to start, and let's talk about it. So again, I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure you leave any questions in the comments, and make sure you subscribe to the channel because we always have a lot of really great ideas for you coming right around the corner. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.